So you're trying to hit your fitness goals this year. You're thinking, well, I need to put systems in place to make that a little bit easier to adhere to. And that's why I'm here. And I'm glad you're here. And I'm glad I'm here, because it's about time I visited my illegal pre-workout factory, which is here in an undisclosed location. So I'd say for number one, I think I'm trying to keep these a little bit less, basic. People are like, oh, set goals, stay accountable. But I think if you are gonna set goals, you can do it a bit better. And what I mean by that is like, oh, I wanna do this certain thing, I wanna accomplish this skill, run a certain time, lift a certain amount of weight, make a bit of a wager, Maybe your friend's kinda getting into a similar sort of thing. You're like, okay, 50 bucks, let's see who does it first. Or the one I've done before is like, I'll pay my friend 30 bucks if I don't do something. Another way you can do it is like, maybe if you're doing a half marathon at the end of the year and you're gonna start training for it, sign up for it now so you've got something to keep you accountable there, okay? Put a bit of skin in the game, Don't just say, oh, I wanna do this, it's kind of weak. I think that's, part of the reason people don't end up getting their goals done, but yeah, that's number one. The other one I have to do with goal setting is kind of a bit of a fun one. I see a lot of people at the start of the year maybe going ham on the consumerism. They got their fancy like neon colored outfits for working out. They got their new 3 pairs of shoes for different purposes. But it can be fun if you keep these sort of purchases as like milestones. It's like, okay, I'm at like a 25-minute 5K, I want to get that to 20. So it's like, okay, 24, I can buy myself this, 23 that. If you're gonna buy it anyway, you may as well work for it a little bit. It makes it that much sweeter. And then, if you bought everything, then once the novelty wears out, it's just kind of like, why am I here? Tip number 3 is, at least initially, just focus on the big 3, your sleep, your diet, and your training. I think people a lot of the time get caught up in these little nitpicky things like special supplements and extra other little bits and pieces that might get you like half a percentage gain. But in the words of Stan Efferding, you're stepping over $100 bills just to pick up pennies. So it's like, what are you really doing? Focus on, getting your whole foods in via diet. That's kind of the baseline. Focus on getting enough sleep hours and consistency, and focus on just training pretty regularly, like 5-6 days a week if possible. And I'm sure you'll just blow everyone else out of the water who's nitpicking over these little things. And while it's all good to set, good habits, you also need something in place to keep away the bad ones, right? And I think as far as mindset goes, a lot of the people fall into the trap of rationalizing bad decisions with the notion of, well, that just flew in my ear. Well, that's what everyone else does, so I'm just going to do it as well. And this is why people end up drinking more than they should, why they eat trash food, why they develop bad habits. Oftentimes it's the people around you. But just double guess whenever you're in a situation where it's like, oh, well, everyone else is doing it, so surely it's okay for me to do it. Just cut that out, dude. You don't need that. Oh, hey. I think number 5, as far as enjoyment goes, people say pick something that's fun. I think that's true to an extent, but I'm going to go one further and say, even though, some things might be quite beneficial, like running or going to the gym, these things you might not enjoy, but you still might see the benefits. It's okay to take away a day or 2 of those things and just fill them with things you actually enjoy, especially if the other thing's actually going to build a bit of strength, like maybe you're doing some rock climbing or build some fitness just by playing a social sport. You probably shouldn't overlook those things. It doesn't have to be in the gym every single day, even if that's something you don't really like doing, so just keep that in mind. Because a lot of the time, that's what causes people to quit, if they're just hammering away at something that they don't really like. For those of you who are new to the channel, the fitness community has brainwashed people into thinking that macronutrients are the be-all, end-all of what a good diet is. Meanwhile, I've spoken before, you can literally hit a macro template with cookies and protein powder. Like, it's outrageous. I think at the end of the day, if you're looking at your plate and you're thinking, okay, these are largely whole foods, these are going to be reasonably satiating, reasonably micronutrient dense, I don't think you should be fixating too much on macros. It's just going to drive you crazy, and it doesn't guarantee a good diet. So look at your food. Is it mostly whole foods? Then you're probably doing something right if you want to follow like the old 80-20 rule, like 80% whole foods, although some people just think it's easier just to do all whole foods and not tempt yourself with that 20%, which might go on to be 40% because you're gorging yourself. But yeah, don't be one of these macro guys. Throw your diet in Chronometer, check your macros. I'm sure you'll feel better. Nothing makes you feel better than hitting your macros even though you're deficient in half the micros. Nice. Number 7 is just to ask other people what's worked for them. A lot of the time, if you're, say, in a gym or in maybe like some running club and there's someone who's doing really well, literally just ask them tips for that specific thing that you're working on. Usually people are going to be so helpful to actually give very specific advice to your situation and pretty happy to just help. And even if they're not a helpful person, even if they're a complete narcissist, they're not going to pass out the opportunity to talk about themselves for a bit, and they'll probably end up giving you advice anyway. So it's a win-win. And honestly, I've made a couple of friends this way, genuinely. Like, even asking advice on things that I can already do reasonably well, because a lot of the time, the advice they give is still going to be applicable to you, even if they're not as good as you. So there's always stuff to learn. There's always friends to make. So get out there, get some advice from actual people in the real world. Stop talking to people like me on the internet, dude. I don't even exist, dude. I'm just AI generated. What, you think I'm actually in the bush? Nah, dude. Doesn't this look sick, by the way? This little hole there. Kind of reminds me of like Pokemon back in the day. Like, I'm off, lads, I'm off to Viridian Forest. But anyway, number 8, as I said, I'm not trying to keep things like super basic, like, oh, don't compare yourself to others. And for that, I'm gonna say, instead of not comparing yourself to these like fitness influencers, fitness, I would say actively laugh at them instead. Have you seen these guys trying to do anything than like a linear weight-loaded exercise? It just doesn't work, dude. Like, these are not the bodies you want. They are so ineffective. They are so impractical. Outside of the gym, they're just like an immobile person who's functionally about as able as an obese person. So it's like, laugh at these people. Don't try to be like them, okay? Open your eyes, okay? I'm sure if you're following this channel, you're probably preaching to the choir here, but dude, as if there's a plane. As if I start, like, look where I am, dude. Why is there a plane? Why here? Number 9, as I get this set up again. Go away, plane. Okay, oh, it's crooked. See, this is the pain I go through, okay. Number 9 is understanding a little bit more about habit formation. Homie James Clear made an absolute tier on this. He made so much money, but basically it's a pretty big topic. But a few things I like to keep in mind is consistency is the maker of habits and the maker of bad habits. If you don't have that in check, it will not work, okay? So having some sort of routine or consistency as far as the days you do certain things can be very helpful as well. Just maybe have like a designated rest day so you're not convincing yourself, oh, I should take a rest day today as well. Have that designated as well. Another one people like to do is the 5-minute rule. So to reduce friction, to reduce that friction of you starting a new activity, I don't want to run, dude. Just convince yourself to run 5 minutes. That's easy. And by the time you run 5, you're probably going to want to do another 5, another 10, another 20. It's that simple. As well, just understand that with goal setting, you're going to be very much so motivated by the rewards. So the more you commit to something, the faster the results are going to be and the more addicted you're going to become. So those are 3 things I like to keep in mind. Number 10, I think it's just really important to understand that there is so much out there in the world to sink your teeth into. So if you see that movie, I think it's called Yes Theory, the Jim Carrey one, just get yourself out there, man. There's so much out there just to be sitting in the same hobby forever. Like, of course, if you're trying to be the best at one thing, that's kind of the cost you make. But for everyone else, like, if you're just going to the gym 7 days a week, is your life getting any better? You know, there's so much out there to experience. So just throw yourself out there, man. Every time you get an invite for something out there, you know, something fun, something new, something exciting, get out there, man. It could be a new thing for you. So that one's less of a fitness tip. But anyway, that's been my 10. I want to open the floor to you guys. Let me know in the comments down below what are some things that you find are really helpful, and we can all maybe exchange a bit of advice here. So let me know of that down below. Also, if you did enjoy, drop a like and consider subscribing for me trudging around in the mud for the last hour and getting bitten by sandflies. That was interesting. Anyway, I'll see you next time. I'll see you conquering your goals. All right, see ya.